Hello and welcome. My name is Wendy. This is Wendy Pitts Reeves, and I am so excited about talking to you today because I am bringing to you a conversation that I am about to have with one of my favorite people on the planet. And it is my highest honor to introduce you to Susan Penner. Susan is with Trust Your Numbers Bookkeeping, and she has been my bookkeeper now for several years. We met in a mutual mastermind a few years ago of fellow entrepreneurs who had come together from all over the world to learn how to grow their business and to grow themselves as human beings. And as you are about to find out, Susan is not your typical bookkeeper in any sense of the word. And I want to give you a little bit of a background about kind of how not just how we met, but kind of my process before I met her. And then I'll share with you what we're going to be talking about today. I have been running a practice. Y'all know this. I've been running a business or a practice for like 20, 30 years now. And I've got tons of experience as a business owner. However, I had never actually worked with a bookkeeper or a CPA until about the last 5 years or so. And it was when the coach that I was working with at the time, that Susan also was working with, said, you guys need to have a CPA and a bookkeeper. And she explained why and blah, blah, blah. And I went out, and long story short, Susan and I were already friends. And there were a lot of things about the way she ran her business, the way she talked about what she did, that resonated with me on a really deep level. And I eventually made the decision to hire her and have been working with her ever since, and cannot imagine running my practice without having her on the team, because she saved my sanity, people. That's just all there is to it. She saved my sanity. And so I have asked her to come on this program with me, if you want to call it that, because I wanted to talk with her in particular about the importance of having a healthy relationship to money in particular, in general, and to your money in particular. And you'll understand more about why that is, I think, as we dive into the conversation. But there are going to be some really good takeaways from today's call that I think you're going to learn a lot from, y'all. So with that, let me just say hello, Susan, and welcome. I'm so honored to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Wendy.
So I should tell people, where are you in the world?
I am in Hawaii and moved here 5 years ago from the coast of Maine.
From the coast of Maine to Hawaii, Maine up here to Hawaii, which was a big move for you and a big part of you designing a life that you really wanted. I know that was a very conscious and intentional thing for you.
Yes, indeed.
So tell everybody, because they don't, who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? And how do you help folks?
Okay. I've been serving women entrepreneurs for, a lot of clients, but I focused on women entrepreneurs about 7 years ago. I met Wendy in 2014 and was redesigning my business at that point to really connect with women who were intentional about their business, who were committed to their business, but they just didn't have all the pieces in place. And as a bookkeeper, a person expert with money, I can put all that together. I can put the books together. It can go off to the CPA or back to them to do their own taxes, and it's all straight. But there was a missing component, and that was the relationship to money. That was the piece that people struggled with, because for everybody, money is shame in a lot of ways. It's just for the people who don't have that shame thing and fear of money, they can do their businesses just fine. They want me to put it together in a practical way, help them understand it. Here we go, all is good. But for people who go into it saying, I can't do this, and I'm no good with numbers, and I'm all of those things, it is a real impediment to forming a healthy business that serves you, because you're developing it so that you can be at service to others. But it's an equal equation. You must get from your business the support that it can provide you, because it is a thing. It's an energetic thing, your business is. My business, when I look at the energy of my business, it comes to me as a Border Collie. It's all happy to help. It wants to help. It wants to keep me in line. It wants to provide for me. It wants to take care of me. And that's that energetic piece of your business. It wants to do this for you. The money in your business is just part of that energetic whole. If you separate thinking about money as aside from your business, then you lose the holistic way you approach your business. So as soon as it becomes a burden, as soon as it becomes a fear, as soon as it becomes any of that, you tend to not look at it. You turn away from it. And that's the perfect recipe for disaster, because then you don't know what your money is doing. And it will happily do whatever it wants to if you're not helping it help you.
It will do
that's
what
the
it
whole
wants
thing.
to if you're not helping it help you. Huh.
Right.
Okay. Okay. That's
Okay.
awesome.
And yeah. And so if you ignore it, it will ignore you. And your business will languish. You may not get the ideal clients you want. You may not build the business that serves you because you're not allowing your money to be one with you, because you're ignoring it. And Wendy, shall I tell the bad boyfriend story?
Yes,
Wendy
you
had
can.
some stress. Wendy had some stress over money at one point, and we sat down over a fabulous lunch, and I said, your money is like a boyfriend, a bad boyfriend, and you want to ignore it. And as you shove that boyfriend away, it says, okay, fine. I don't have to be here with you. And you can, you're ignoring it completely. So don't treat it like a bad boyfriend. You want to treat it like a really good friend, mentor, tool, a spirit. It's all those things, because it's only numbers. So when I talk to people about the numbers, I really mean it's not a measure of your self-worth. It's not a measure of who you should be, who you are, what you're not doing. It's not something to feel guilty about. It's just numbers. And we can use those numbers to inform where the business goes. It's all about continuing forward, growing the business, getting better clients.
That day, so I want to tell you all what Susan was just alluding to, that because there was something really powerful that she said that day, which is why, so the reason I want her to talk to you is because of the conversation we had that day. And many of you will be able to relate to this. I had backed myself into a corner financially in a certain way that I knew better than to do. I had just made some not very good decisions. I had not been really paying good attention to my numbers, which is what Susan's talking about. When you are uncomfortable with something, you tend to want to set it aside, right? And what I told her that day was, I just don't really worry about money that much. I just kind of trust that it will always be there, because it usually is. It gets a little tight sometimes, but things have a way of working out. And I set an intention, and I just sort of let it go and move on. And what you said to me, Susan, that day was, intention is not the same thing as attention.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
And that's when you said, you can't treat your money like a bad boyfriend that you just sit on the shelf and pull them down when you want to play with them, and then stick them back up when you're done, and go, you just hang out there. I'll let you know when I need you. Which was life-changing to me, because y'all, my tendency, and I want to share this with you all, because I think you guys, some of you are the same way. I know I would rather do almost anything than talk about money, look at money, fool with money, do math. Not because I can't do math. I just don't love it. It's boring. I don't care. But what you said that day was, Susan, intention is not the same thing as attention, paying attention to your numbers. So tell me, what does it mean to have a healthy relationship with money? And why should I, as an entrepreneur, as a practice owner, as a psychotherapist, as a healer, why should I care about that? What is a healthy relationship? Why should I care?
The healthy relationship looks like it's an equal relationship. So it's a give and take. So you're not demanding, and this is where intentionality comes in. When you say, oh, I intend to get all of these clients, or I intend to make this kind of money by the end of the year, or whatever, it doesn't carry any weight, because, okay, you can, that's like the try or don't try, that thing. You don't just try to lift your arm. No, just lift your arm. Right. And so you intend to do something that gave us a lot of like back in whatever day it was when the first intentions were really coming out. It's great to have an intention when you're going into mindset work and all of that. But if you're intending to build your business by just wishing it were so, it's not going to happen. And so you're not facing your money. A healthy relationship with money is a face-to-face relationship. You're looking at it. You're looking each other in the eye. And you're not expecting it to suddenly come to you out of the blue magically. It is that you are looking at it and you're saying, what do I need to do in my business? Where is my cause in my business to reach the sort of places I want to go with my business? Money follows. It's not a separate thing of itself. Money in your business is a result of your working your business and working it with wisdom and working with information. That's what it is. So your relationship is healthy because you are looking at each other, but you're both pointed in the same direction, and that is forward building.
I love that. I love what did you just said? A healthy relationship with money is a face-to-face relationship. You're looking at each other in the eye. So let's just play with this a little bit. So I was going to ask you, like, what are some of the mistakes that you see entrepreneurs making? When they don't have a healthy relationship with money? What are the signs of that? What are the behaviors that go with that? What do you see people like me and so many of those that I coach do that is like, this is a heads up to you as a bookkeeper with a heart, bookkeeper with a soul, that there's a bigger issue here that's not necessarily about the numbers. What do you see us do?
Well, from a practical matter, I see several things. One of them is that the business owner takes money out of the business in dribs and drabs. It's never the same amount. It's always to patch a hole in their personal finances. It's not a thing that says, I have worked and this is what I take from my business as the fee for service is essentially what it is. I am working my business and money is available for me, but it needs to be on a regular basis, and it needs to be a uniform amount of money so that in your personal life, what you're trying to support, you can meet those expenses in a consistent manner.
So they don't have a regular paycheck. They don't have a regular paycheck.
Exactly. And it's of a way you've built a business so that you can afford to take this money regularly from your business. You know what cash is coming in, you know what your expenses are, you know what will be left, and you know what you need to live personally. So there's a very separate thing between your business and the money and how it pays you, and then the life you live is over here. So you need to see both. And as a business owner, you're balancing both all the time. But that inconsistency in how money comes out of the business is really deadly to both your business and personal life. And so being, and there we go with intentionality. You're intentional about supporting yourself through your business. That's a whole lot different than intending to make, $100,000. It's just different. And if there's questions about that, ask.
Okay.
But and another mistake I see are the numbers of transactions in a business, the numbers of times the money is getting transferred or moved, or little checks written here and little checks written there, that there's no organization to it. There's no regimentation to it. Because if you had a system of paying bills as they come in, or on a certain day of every month, or 2 days every month, something like that, that would cut down on the number of little transactions that happen, which is actually like every time you walk past an open storm grate on the street, you toss some money down it. It just like goes away without you even realizing it. So having your transactions kept under your control, and knowing that control can come by knowing what's due and when to pay, you have less frequency of transactions, and it pulls it together. So suddenly it amasses more money available when you're not just spending it like that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would call that spending unconsciously.
Yeah.
spending unconsciously,
Yeah.
like just sort of randomly, like just not paying, again, not paying attention. I was like, sure, I can do that,
Right.
or I got to do that, or I got, which is, this it's funny. This is all comes back to intention versus attention. That is the mistake that I
Mhm.
have found that I tend to make, which is what I was talking to you about before we even got on the call. That when I pay attention, things go better. When I don't pay attention, I make sloppy. You get sloppy about it, right? So what you're saying,
Exactly.
money just kind of comes and goes and ebbs and flows, and there's no real pattern to it. There's no thought behind it. There's
Right.
no. You're saying that they're not paying themselves regularly, and they're not
Right.
like knowing what their expenses are going to be, what their income's going to be, and planning, being more thoughtful and on purpose about how they
Yes.
do stuff. Okay.
Yes. And not looking at it as a reward. It's not a, oh, I worked so hard this week, I'm going to go out to dinner.
Mm,
No, the question is, I know what's coming up that's due. I know what's in my checking account. Can I go out to dinner? Is that something
mm,
I could do for myself? Not,
mm,
I'm gonna because I deserve it. It is really about, can my business do this for me? Yes or no? And it's very practical. And it's just like when you're getting ready to do to something big. Okay, I need a new computer. Well, okay, you don't get it today because you haven't shopped around, you haven't done anything about it. Again, you get intentional about the needs of your business, and you don't just say, oh, I can do that at any time. You make decisions. You let what you have, what you know is coming in and where you're going, kind of help you move toward the things you need to keep your business healthy. So it's very much a mindful practice. And on a practical level, it's not mindfulness in the clouds. It's really mindful of what you have. Pay again attention. That's exactly what it is.
um, so I wrote down not making decisions, or not making decisions from an intentional and informed place, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Just, and you know what it is? It's a difference between making a decision and justifying a want or justifying an
Mm,
expense that you're going to make. And you can create justifications for anything.
mhm,
But the
mhm.
question that you ask yourself is this right for my business?
Yeah.
It's not justifying, oh, I need this. Well, you know, or it's an investment or those kinds of things. You have a justification for it. But decision making is is on a, you know, a firm foundation of knowledge.
What I heard you saying in the beginning is that for everybody, money is shame. And that,
Mhm.
and I know from personal experience and from coaching so many folks over the last several years that for healers in particular, we have such a guilt-ridden love-hate relationship with money. We are racked with emotion around money that is so conflicted and so challenging and so difficult. And I heard you say, when you come to your money, your relationship to money from that place, from a place of shame or guilt or discomfort, your tendency is going to be to separate yourself from it, to
Mhm.
set it aside, right? To distance yourself from it. And when you distance yourself from it, you're setting, I think you said something like you're setting yourself up for disaster. Um, and so when we're talking about, so what does that actually look like in day-to-day life? I'm hearing you say a couple of things. Like one really sensible thing is your income is all over the map, and the way you pay yourself is too. So you're, rather than having established a payment system where you get a paycheck just like you would if you were working for somebody else, you treat your money like you said you took, that they pay themselves in dribs and drabs, and it is always to patch a hole in their personal finances, not an intentional, structured,
Mhm.
regular paycheck that is designed to support their life and the way they want to live. So
Yep.
no regular paycheck, and then spending money unconsciously. Those are the two things that I'm hearing you say really so far. Am I getting that right so far?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Okay. What's
Yep.
the third?
Yep.
Give me a third thing that people do in terms of like what this actually looks like day to day, mistakes that people actually make,
Um,
behaviors.
is the behavior is to treat all of your money, both personal and business, as one giant bucket. And
Ah,
Yeah. And so there's no separation between personal and business. Okay, my business checking account is a little low. Oh my God, oh my God. You rush over to your personal checking account and you feed your business account. You're not feeding it by getting more clients. You're propping it up from your personal life, which then you're, oh my God, my personal checking account is low. And you rush over to your business and you then patch yourself up. That's what patching that other hole looks like. But it is, without treating them separately, then you're going to have this overlap and this intermesh that then, okay, oh gosh, just whip out your business check credit card because you want this, and the business will eventually pay for it, no problem. No, if it's for you personally, it needs to be bought with personal funds. And it begs the same question, personally as well as business. Can I afford it? Is it a purchase that I can make consciously and know that I can cover this?
Yeah.
And so it's the whole idea of building, not just building a healthy relationship with money, but building money with health. Your money has got to be healthy in and of itself too.
So some people who are listening to this may hear this as so this is a little bit of a detour I want to take on, but it's occurring to me that we need to talk about this. Some folks who are hearing this are going to hear it as, you need to have a budget. You need to know you need to be a grown up and don't buy things that you don't have a budget for. You need to be just don't be silly and treat your business money and your personal money as separate. And if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But it's really so much more than that. So I love that we've talked about some of the behavioral specifics, irregular paychecks, spending unconsciously, and then treating all your money as one giant bucket. I love that because I totally get all three of those. But what I know that you do with people that's a little different is that you also catch it when folks are telling a money story and are emotionally not in a healthy place with money, just in the way they think about it, the way they feel about it. Can you sort of say a little bit about that? Because I think part of a healthy relationship with money is not just what you do with it, but how you think and feel about it too.
That's a long process. When I'm hearing a money story, it's because we have worked together over a long enough time period that they trust me not to come to the table with judgment. That if they have a money story, if something has happened and they have to own it and live with it, and I'm so bad with money, it's never liked me, or whatever those money stories are, they're coming to the table after knowing me and knowing that I'm going to be non-judgmental. And because it's who we live, it happens.
Right.
These things happen. And so coming with me to say, well, for shame, that's, you should have known better type of stuff. No, that's not true, because the stories can take over. So we examine the stories, we talk about the stories, but then putting it in perspective. Well, is that paying attention? Is that really true? And if you did something else, would this be the result? Meaning, if you finally got that other package or program or whatever you're doing off the ground, would that change where you are right now? So the story isn't about money and how bad you are with it. Maybe it's about not attending to your business.
Right.
It's not being realistic about, where you want to grow this, what it's going to take, what you need. So I don't know if that answered it for you.
Well, so I think so. What I'm hearing in that is that one of the things that happens is that folks come to you, like in the beginning, people do expect judgment, and so the judgment is happening. We judge ourselves.
Right.
I'm stupid for not managing my money better. I'm I'm not going to ever make it as a private practice owner because I don't do this right or that right. I don't understand numbers. I don't know how to even think about all this, much less do it. I mean, the stories that we tell ourselves is I'm dumb, stupid. I'm not cut out for this. Other people can do this, not me. And what your message to me, it seems to is often is like, it's just, you say this to me all the time, it's just numbers.
Right.
It's just numbers. It's not, and this is what I hear you saying, it's not a reflection on you as a human being or on your character or on your intelligence even. It's
Right.
just
Right.
numbers, you know, and we are healers. We are experts in helping people feel better, think better, have healthier relationships, move better in the world. We're not experts at numbers, and that's
Right.
fine. We don't have to be, but we don't
Right.
have to beat ourselves up because of that either. We could go, you know what, this is not my forte, which is why I need someone to help me with it. And that's okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And the stories that come out are more or less to justify the condition that you feel you are in. And you
Mm,
could be completely reading it wrong.
mm,
You might be in a pretty good spot. You might have a lot of prospects on the horizon. You might be operating a full practice.
mm-hmm.
It's, but you tell yourself, the story you tell yourself is because you don't like it, you don't feel successful
Right.
and you're afraid.
Right.
So does that clarify the story thing a little bit better?
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
just a story. It's only a
Just a
story.
story. And we can
It
rewrite a
has
story. Yeah.
exactly. It has no real power over you unless you grant it.
So, guys, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story that explains that fits this, I think. And then, Susan, I'm going to ask you about some tips next. That's where I'm going to go next.
Okay.
When Susan and when I decided to ask, I mean, she was already my buddy and I loved her already, but and I knew what good work she did, but I didn't think I needed a bookkeeper because I'm an intelligent person. I have a master's degree. I can do actually basic math. And over the years, I've been running a practice at that point for 20 something years. And I knew my way around Quicken. I could balance a checkbook. I could manage paying bills. I knew all this kind of stuff. But every time I sat down to put my business finances in Quicken, and y'all, I had a complicated situation because I had 2 or 3 different businesses going at the same time, really, plus my personal. I had my group practice. I had the bills that went with the finances that went with my group practice. I had the finances that went with my personal, my solo practice and coaching work. And I had my personal finances as well. And for a little while in there, y'all, I know I had an adventure-based business on the side. So I had like all kinds of stuff going on. And when I sat down to try to work with Quicken, I can't tell you how many times I would end up in tears, sheer frustration, just so frustrated because I couldn't figure out what the categories meant and which categories made sense from a tax perspective and which one didn't. And do I call it this time this, and do I call it something else another time? Is it okay if I do it this way, or do I? And I would just get so frustrated because I felt stupid. I just felt stupid. And I am not stupid, not by a long shot. And I kept thinking, I am an intelligent, functioning adult. Why can I not do this? And I felt so much shame about that and embarrassment about that. I mean, when I would get emotional over it, it was just frustrated. You ever get so mad you cry? Like it was like that. And so when I sat down and talked to Susan about hiring her, and y'all, this isn't a pitch for hiring Susan. She's got plenty of business. She's got lots of clients. But it is a pitch for, if this is not your forte, get somebody with an objective outside perspective who can be your partner as you manage your numbers and learn how to look at them without fear, without shame, who can sort of pull the emotion out of it and go, you know what? Here's the good part. Here's something you might want to take a look at. And here's a way that you can make this a little bit better. Get some help in that, because the shame is massive. And so what happens when I don't know about you, but when I feel stupid, the last thing I want to do is sit down and look at my bank account. I don't want to look at my bank account. I don't want to look at my checkbook. I don't want to, yes, I still actually keep a checkbook. I realize how unusual that is these days. Call me old fashioned. It works. But I could go for literally sometime weeks or maybe even months sometime with just a vague idea of kind of what was happening, and stay just ahead of it enough to stay out of trouble. And one of the things I did, I'll tell you, I'll say this and I'll pass it back to Susan. One of the things that I did after that day that Susan said, intention is not the same thing as attention, was I set an alarm on my phone that every morning at 7:30 in the morning, I would check my bank accounts. That's it. That much. That's simple. That's all it was. I didn't do anything. I just literally would log into my online bank account, see what had cleared over the last day, what's still in there. Is it about what I expected? Were there any surprises? Okay, great. Log back out. Took me 3 minutes. And I would do that every single morning. And when I do that, things go better. And it's not because I'm making necessarily more money or making smarter decisions. I'm just more aware. And the simple act of being aware is powerful. It's so powerful. Where attention goes, energy grows. Can't believe we've made it this far on this call. That's the first time I said that. Where attention goes, energy grows. And when I go through periods where I'm not doing that daily check, things get sloppy. I get off track. I start losing it again. It is like, it's that simple. So Susan, tell me, like, what are, 2 or 3, or if you just have one favorite, whatever, what tips do you have for how we can, number one, catch it if we are having a dysfunctional relationship with our own money, and 2, what can we do about it?
I think the first thing is you just have to make friends with it. You just have to, I mean, dysfunctional really implies that there's something wrong with either one of you or both. And I don't think that's right. I don't think you need to look at it as, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Now I'm going to have to check my checking account every day. What will I do? What will I do? It's more about just establishing that routine where you say hello and you go look in your checking account. You have certain specific times where you're going to look at this. And if it's when you sit with your appointment book and you look at what's ahead of you for the week, you can quick do the math and say, what's going to come in? Oh, okay. This is coming in. Great. It gives you a different outlook. You may not write it down. You may not make a plan for it. It just says, oh yes, the fruits of my labor will be worth this week. Great. And then, and so that opens up to establish the connection, just connecting you to your money and having your money feel connected to you, your business, however you want to define it. We are our businesses. And so if you're going to run a heart-based, soul-centered business, recognize that you are that business. That essence is in you, and it exists on this, outside plane at the same time. It's all one. And so having your relationship to money where you're going to look at it and just commit to it and say, yeah, I want to touch it. I want to reach out to it. I want to, whatever it is, where you connect to it, I think is the most healthy thing to establishing it. It's not saying, oh, my money relationship is so dysfunctional. I say, my money relationship doesn't even exist. I need to have one of those, and I can get one of those. And so it takes the pressure from you are damaged, you are wrong, to, oh, I am becoming more aware. That's really all it is.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's it. I don't have 3 tips. I mean, that's the one.
That's it. Make friends with it, become aware of it, connect with it, commit to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's given me an idea, y'all, for a little homework exercise that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. So stay with me. If you're multitasking, come back to me, because I'm going to give you a little exercise that will be, I think, perfect to capture this and help move you forward on your own journey to having a healthier, stronger, more loving relationship with money, more loving. So, sweet, dear, awesome Susan Penner, can you tell people where can they learn more about you? If I don't think you have actually a lot of room for clients right now, but if somebody wanted to reach out to you, even for a consult, or, whatever, how can they learn more about you? Where do they find you?
You can find me on the World Wide Web at trustyournumbers.com. And it's just, spelled out all in one word. And it either looks like trusty our numbers or it's trust your numbers. Either way, it works.
That's true. Trusty. That's funny.
Trusty our numbers.
Trustyournumbers.com. Susan Penner.
Yep.
She's a keeper, y'all. So I want to bring this to a close. What I'm going to suggest to you is that as you've listened to this, a couple of things are going to be coming up. On one hand, you may be going, oh, this is kind of silly. This is all fine. I don't need any of this. Or you may be going, oh my gosh, I've never thought about it this way. This is phenomenal. And good Lord, what do I do about it? So two things. One is if you find that numbers are just not your thing and you can relate to what I said about when I was crying over doing Quicken, not because I mean, whatever. If you can relate to that, I encourage you to seriously look into finding a bookkeeper for yourself. A good bookkeeper will not make you feel silly or ashamed. A good bookkeeper will have what Dave Ramsey calls the heart of a teacher. A good bookkeeper will understand you from an emotional point of view as well as a number point of view. And I'm going to tell you, I think these are rare. I think Susan is a rare one. But they will understand that you're like, this is not your forte. And they will not talk down to you. They will say, I'm going to sit next to you and I'm going to teach you what this means. And when you have questions, you're going to ask me and we're going to walk through it together. That is one of the best things you can do as a practice owner is add a bookkeeper to your team who you feel treats you with respect, who understands you, and who will guide you in a kind and compassionate way. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is I have a little exercise for you. And that is sometime tonight or whenever you listen to this, as soon as you can, within the next few hours or the next day, spend a little time with your journal or grab a legal pad. Or if you want to do this on your computer, that's fine, wherever you feel most comfortable. And I'm going to suggest that you write a letter to your money. When we have a relationship with someone that we love, when we're dating, when we stumble a little bit, or when we have a bad fight, or when we realize that we have, maybe left the dirty clothes on the floor a little bit too many times, and perhaps we should pick up after ourselves a little bit more. We want to talk to our significant other or the person that we love and say, I'm so sorry. I really want to do better with you. And oh, by the way, have I told you lately how cute you are? I want you to do that with money. So I want you to write a letter. Dear money, it's been a long time since we've talked, and I got a few things I want to say to you. There might be a few things you want to apologize for. There might be a few things you want to ask for. There are certainly a few things you want to share from your heart. And I hope that one of those is an appreciation for all the good that money does for you, or wants to do for you, or tries to do for you. Because, as Susan once said to me, if we treat money with disrespect, why would it want to hang around? So if I love you, money, and I'm grateful for you, and I appreciate all you've done for me, I want you in my life, and I'm glad you're here. And together, you and I are going to do great things in the world. I encourage you to write a letter to money. And if you really want to be brave, send it to me. Or just shoot me an email and tell me about it. That's fine too. Or a DM on Facebook. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks everybody for being here today. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I cannot wait to see what you do with it. And with that, I will let you go, and I will see you next time.